Hello everyone, welcome to Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is ranked number 1 on Board Game Geek's list of board games of all time, and it is still available to you in a giant behemoth of a board game that I do own. However, if you want something a little bit more manageable, the campaign is now available digitally now the game has come out of early access. I spent a few hours in the Guildmaster mode just to check over how things were previously, but today it's come out in full, so we will hop into the campaign. I'm going to play on normal difficulty, and we are going to be the Gothic's Guild House. There's minimal introduction for story in the campaign book on the board game, so I don't know what we're going to get here before we get into the mechanics of things, but we'll find out in a moment, I'm sure.
Welcome to the harsh lands of Gloomhaven, recruit. You think you have what it takes to become a mercenary out there on the edge of the world? We are paid to venture into the darkest forests of the region and to step into ancient crypts with the unmistakable stench of death and rotting flesh. Lovely places to earn a name for yourself. Be ready to face cutthroats, undead, fearsome tribes, and dreadful demons from other realms. You didn't find yourself as a mercenary without knowing how to crack a few skulls, did you?
There you go, there's your elevator pitch overview. Before going into the harrowing wilderness surrounding Gloomhaven, you'll need at least 2 mercenaries in your party, brave or greedy enough to seek out adventures in exchange for gold. On the left, you'll find the party panel. Here, you can see the basic information of the mercenaries in your party. Click on the first character slot to open the roster panel. So we are level 1 with a reputation of 0 and a Gloomhaven city wealth of 1. You can create, view, and add mercenaries to your current party using the roster panel. Right now, it's looking as barren as the Copperneck Mountains, so best click New Mercenary to create your first character. Next, you'll choose one of the starting character classes. Each one has unique abilities and game style. As you progress, you'll level up, earning new ability cards and unlocking more classes. Click on any of the portraits to learn more about them and select whether you want them to be your first mercenary. So in the board game, I play Brute, and so I think I'm going to do the same here as my primary. Good choice. Now remember, looks aren't everything. Merc's ability cards are what define your actions in battle. You can click the Starting Ability Cards button to make sure this is the right mercenary for your party. Once you are sure of your decision, hit the Select Mercenary button to move forward. The Brute employs his great size and strength to earn a living by wielding his huge sword and impressive shield for those who pay the most. Brutes are best used as frontline melee troops, absorbing damage and protecting the more fragile ranged damage dealers, and are best equipped with items that keep them alive longer. So here we can see a deck of ability cards, including these hiding down under the fold. We will look at those a bit more later. We have a health of 10, ability cards 13, starting perks none, difficulty low, perks melee and damage tank. Strengths, high health, defense abilities, access to early disarm and stun, great at pushing enemies about. Weaknesses, low mobility, poor ranged attacks, and not the greatest conversationalist. So we're going to select Brute. Let's name them... What are we going to name them? Let's just go with the classic. Brutus. A personal quest is a mercenary's sole reason for adventuring. Once the objective is completed, the merc will retire. Beware, when mercenaries retire, they will no longer be a playable character. Though farewells can often be bitter, some things have to move on to give way to new horizons. Completing personal quests and retiring mercenaries is the primary route to unlocking new characters. So choose one of the 2 personal quests. These come randomly selected from a deck. Merchant class. Own 2 helmet items, 2 chest items, 2 leg items, 3 hand or 2-handed weapons items, and 4 miscellaneous items. Money is power and the merchants rule the world. You figure that if you can gather enough equipment together, you may be able to set up your own shop somewhere and work towards becoming a real merchant. Let the suckers keep fighting in the dungeons over scraps. And we would unlock something represented by 3 arrows and +1 prosperity. Over here, when you close your eyes, you can still see 2 of your children happily at play. When you open your eyes, however, you can see your best friend dead. The guards claim it was an accident, but you know different. The guilty must be found and vengeance exacted. Sometimes blood begets blood. Complete 4 scenarios in Gloomhaven. Progressive objective. Rewards, unlock the sun and 1 prosperity. So vengeance is actually what I'm playing in the board game. So I'm going to take the other and choose the merchant class. And we will choose that personal quest. And Brutus has joined the party. That's 1 merc sorted, but you'll need a minimum of 2 mercenaries before you can go out seeking adventure. It's important to build a party of mercs who complement each other in battle. Click on the second character slot in the party panel and create a new character. Know that you can't have more than 1 merc of the same character class in the party at the same time, so be sure to create a different one. So here we select New Mercenary. Now we can't select another brute. And my friends in my tabletop game play the Tinkerer and the Spellweaver. So I'm going to avoid those specifically. So we have the Scoundrel, which has the 3 throwing knives as their item. We have Cragheart, and we have the Mind Thief. So we could play with up to a party of 4, but I think that's going to be a lot of decisions to make, and it's going to slow things down a fair bit. So I'm going to start with a party of 2. We already have 1 chunkier character, so I'm going to avoid Cragheart as a second chunky character, and instead select somebody with more ranged capabilities. So that's going to be between the Scoundrel and the Mind Thief. Scoundrels are self-serving and opportunistic. They believe that everything is theirs and will do anything to make sure it becomes so. She excels at high damage melee attacks, identifying lone targets, and also gaining bonuses from working close to her teammates. She is a loner, however, so don't expect her to help with other party members apart from killing their attackers. Mind Thief. Mind Thieves make terrifying opponents through their use of psychic assaults, sharp blades, and swarms of tiny teeth. The Mind Thief has a unique augment system, allowing her to add effects to all on her melee attacks, and later her ranged attacks also. She additionally can control enemies and summon minions to give access to a lot of different gameplay options. Be wary of her low health, however. And so only 6 HP. I think I'm going to take the Scoundrel just because it's a little bit simpler. And I'm only familiar with the Brute's stuff. So we'll take Scoundrel. And what are we going to call the Scoundrel? Well, there's only 1 name that they could be on this channel, and that is Faith. And we need to choose a personal quest for Faith. Implement of Light. Find the Skullbane axe in the Necromancer's Sanctum and then use it to kill 7 living bones, corpses, or living spirits. The scourge of the undead is upon you. You can feel the presence of unnatural life choking the world. You have heard tales of the legendary holy axe held by a vile necromancer. Your goal is simple. Kill the necromancer, take the axe, and lay waste to the undead menace. Find the axe in their sanctum and kill 7 foes with it. And then we get the star and +1 prosperity. Or the perfect poison. Kill 3 oozes, 3 lurkers, and 3 spitting drakes. Creating poison is an art. So many ways to die, so many ways to paint a canvas. You've been happy with your work up until now, but this will be your masterpiece. There are rumors of exotic creatures in the lands around Gloomhaven. If you could just collect a few samples, then you could craft a poison that will preserve your legacy. And that unlocks Squid Face and 1 prosperity. I think that sounds much more pertinent to a Scoundrel. Faith has joined the party. Time to do some adventuring. If you are confident with your current party, click on the center of the screen to close the party panel roster and head out to the world map. Yes, I think a party of 2 will be sufficient for right now. Before heading out on your first quest, you should gear up. After all, it is your first time out in the open. You'll notice each mercenary has a modest stash of gold. It's encouraged to take that money over to the merchant's shop and spend it on anything that might keep you from dying. Here is our merchant. Remember, each mercenary has his or her own stash of gold and a personal inventory, so make sure you click on the right mercenary's portrait before purchasing an item. So we have our two heroes on the left that we can alternate between, and each has a purse of 30 gold. And up here we can see that there's 34 things in the shop. There's helmets, chest plates, weaponry or handheld stuff, shoes, and miscellaneous items. And the exclamation points show us what's new. And I guess they're color-coded by what slot they can fill or what type of item they are. So what do we want for the Brutus? Well, Brutus is slow, and we want to keep him alive as much as possible, but we only have 30 gold to play with. So, Boots of Striding. During your movement, add up to 2 movement in a single movement. During your movement, add jump to the movement. I think Boots of Striding are a classic. Buy them for Brutus. And probably a minor healing potion to help keep him alive. And that is all of their gold spent. As for Faith, during your ranged attack, ignore all shield values of the entire action. When damaged by an attack, gain 1 shield for the attack. During your melee attack, add poison to a single attack target. Or during your melee attack, add stun to the entire attack action. And then power potion, stamina potion, healing potion also. Cloak of invisibility, hide armor. Leather armor. The next 2 times you are attacked, the attacker gains disadvantage on the attack. I think that sounds good for Faith. And we'll take a stamina potion for her. So that is our 30 gold spent. We can return to the map of the world. Gloomhaven isn't known for its well-mannered folk and good Samaritans, but there's a lot to gain from the city streets. You can choose to partake in city encounters by clicking the button below. It's encouraged you to do this whenever you're in the city, as often they give good rewards. If you ever find a quest that looks too hard, or one you've repeatedly failed to complete, the Temple of the Great Oak can grant you its blessing, for a fair price of course. You can choose to access the temple using this button below. The first quest located is marked just north of Gloomhaven. You'll see it flagged with an icon. As you progress, more quest locations appear across the map. To keep track of them, you can use the quest log on the right hand side of the screen. Click the black barrow or the entry on the quest log to select the quest. So you can embark on a quest with up to 4 mercenaries, but the more mercs you bring, the more dangerous the quest will be. Once you set out for a quest, you won't be able to change the members of your party until you return to Gloomhaven. So the black barrow is up here. We can see the deck of city encounters. Please, something of interest, sirs. The words comes through in chitters and hisses. You turn your head towards an alley in the ward of Scales to see a harrower dressed in crude robes and a mask. It holds out a piece of parchment. Something for sirs? Very powerful. Just 5 gold. You can see the parchment has the designs for something on it, but still you recognize this harrower. It is known for trading in disreputable goods. You can't know where the parchment came from, and if anyone saw you dealing with this creature, well, they might get the wrong idea. We can make a deal with the harrower, or we can shake our head and walk away. Best not to take chances in such situations. I think we're not going to make any progress without taking a few risks. You try and pay the harrower less than what they ask for, which only manages to anger it. It hisses loudly and shuns you. -1 reputation. The party's reputation has been influenced by your actions. Reputation will influence the cost of items in the merchant's shop and the outcomes of certain encounters. Good deeds are often rewarded, but they can be so much less fun. The choice is yours. Well, that is the results of our interaction. We can go to the Temple of the Great Oak. Mercenaries will be blessed every time they give a donation of 10 gold to the Temple of the Great Oak. A blessed mercenary will gain 2 additional ×2 attack modifiers in their next dungeon. Remember, each mercenary has his or her own stash of gold and a personal inventory, so make sure you click the right mercenary's portrait before you donate to the temple. And you can see we have a devotion counter here, 0 of 100, and we can take individual blessings on each occasion. There's the merchant again, and here we are back on the world map. We definitely want to equip the things that we've purchased before we head out. In the equipment panel, you can find the different types of items a mercenary can carry. Clicking on an item will display all the items of that type the mercenary owns. If the item slot displayed is in grey, it means you currently have no item of that type. So we want to collect our Boots of Striding and our Minor Healing Potion. And for faith, for faith, we want our Leather Armor and our Minor Stamina Potion. Right, and with everything done, we can go to the Black Barrow where our journey begins. Now might be a good time to go through the Merc's ability cards and inventory to make sure you are battle ready. In the quest description, you can see the enemies you'll face. Hovering over their faces will reveal their stats. So we'll be fighting Bandit Archers, Bandit Guards, and Living Bones. We need to kill all the enemies in a room, and this is a core quest within the Corpse Wood. Let's be off then.
Everyone needs to eat. Whatever your reason for coming to Gloomhaven, out here on the edge of the world, that simple fact is never going to change. A mercenary can't fight on an empty stomach. So when Jexera, a Valrath woman wearing a red cloak and enough gold jewelry to keep you fed for a decade, approaches you in the Sleeping Lion and offers to pay you 10 gold coins to track down a thief and retrieve some stolen goods, well, seems like as good an excuse as any to sober up and start paying off your tab. This thief, based on Jexera's description,
Whoops, sorry.
it's easy enough to knock around a few alley thugs and get a location of the thieves' hideout. You don't find yourself as a mercenary way out in Gloomhaven without knowing how to crack a few skulls. So your target is the Black Barrow. Sounds like a lovely place.
So now we are on the road. We must draw 1 road encounter card. You are feeling a tad hungry as you walk down the road. You are considering stopping for a meal when you come across the thicket of bushes covered in green berries. The berries look delicious, but you hesitate. They could be poisonous. Now, they're going to invigorate us, aren't they? You shrug and grab a handful of berries to stuff in your mouth. They are incredibly sweet and just the right amount of tart. You couldn't feel better about your decision. You have been blessed. Wonderful. Then we head on out.
The hill is easy enough to find. A short journey past the New Market Gate, and you see it jutting out on the edge of the Corpse Wood, looking like a rat under a rug. Moving closer, you see the mound is formed from a black earth. Its small, overgrown entrance presents a worn set of stone stairs leading down into the darkness. As you descend, you gratefully notice light emanating from below. Unfortunately, the light is accompanied by the unmistakable stench of death. You contemplate what kind of thieves would make their camp in such a horrid place as you reach the bottom of the steps. Here, you find your answer. A rough group of cutthroats who don't seem to have taken very kindly to your sudden appearance. One in the back matches the description of your quarry.
Before entering a dungeon, each mercenary must choose 1 of 2 battle goals. A battle goal is a secret objective the mercenary tries to complete inside the dungeon. Failing it has no drawback, but succeeding it and the scenario will earn the character the rewards shown. So this little chevron here in the highlighting shows us this is Brutus's task. Opener, be the first to kill a monster during the scenario. We get 1 perk point. or gain 7 or fewer experience points during the scenario would receive 2 perk points. I think we can be the first to slay something. And then for Faith, Aggressor, have 1 or more monsters present on the map. Have 1 or more monsters present on the map at the beginning of every round during the scenario, 2 perk points, or take only long rests during the scenario, 1 perk point. I'll go for 1 for the long rests only, and then we will enter the dungeon. Then we can get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on.
Take care of these unfortunates, your target says, backing out of the room. You can vaguely make out his silhouette as he retreats down a hallway and through a door to his left. Well, it's not every day we get people stupid enough to hand-deliver their valuables to us, grins one of the larger bandits, unsheathing a rusty blade. We'll be killing you now. Joke's on them. If you had any valuables, you probably wouldn't be down here in the first place.
So, here we have our first encounter. So, if you wasn't clear yet, this is a dungeon-based, dungeon-crawling hex grid strategy game where we and our party need to defeat the foes, get through the doors, and progress through each individual scenario. Our objectives up here are outlined: kill all enemies in all rooms. And the way we do this is by playing cards from a small deck that are unique to each character. So these are the cards that are in the Brute's deck. There are 10 for him. And these are the cards that are in the Scoundrel's deck. There are only 9 there, I believe. So the way that things progress is we currently do not have a move order, and we do not know what is going to be happening in our first round of attacks yet. But the first thing that we can do is place our heroes anywhere that we like within the white highlighted cells before the start of combat. And then we need to select what actions we wish to be taking from the deck of cards that we hold. So we're going to want to move forward towards the enemy and attack them as quickly as possible. Every time you take a turn, you'll see at the top here it says 0 of 2 cards selected. You always select 2 cards to play. If you cannot select 2 cards, you must take a rest of some kind. And if then you still do not have 2 cards to play, then you are unconscious and taken out of that fight. So, each card has a top and a bottom. When you play a pair of cards, you must always play the top of one card and the bottom of another. Each card has something at its top and something at its bottom, but if you don't wish to use those, there is always available to you a standard 2 attack and 2 movement option if you don't want to use the specific skill that's based on the top or bottom of that card. Each card also has a number in its center, and that determines the initiative on which you take, 1 being the fastest and 100 or 99 being the slowest. When you select your 2 cards, the card you select first will be your initiative for the round coming up. So we want to move forward and attack, really. We are 2 tiles away from the nearest foe. We can see that we have a Bandit Guard and a Bandit Guard Elite, as indicated by the star around their health counter. We can also see they have 1 shield on them. So if we were to leaping cleave, we could attack 2 of them. And we would need to move 2 to get there. We want to do that fairly quickly, as we would like to attack them before they get a chance to attack us. And so we don't need to use anything particularly special to do that. And so what we'll do is we'll take a Provoking Roar to move for 2. It will be our intent. And then we will go in with a Leaping Cleave to attack 2 of them. We can then select the Scoundrel, and we do the same over here. And the Scoundrel is going to want to stay slightly further back with only 8 HP. And we also have Throwing Knives, where we can attack for 2 at a range of 3 and select 2 separate targets to do that. So a range of 3 would be 1, 2, 3. So we're going to move slightly closer if we want to use our Throwing Knives. So let's do that. That was a range of 2, wasn't it? Range of 3. So if we move to this tile here, we'd be fine. So we'll take the throwing knives for first, and then any card can be selected for the movement. So we'll play quick hands. So we end our selection now. Then the enemies select what they're going to be doing. So they're both going to act on 55. And the elite guard has a base stat of 9 health, 2 movement, and an attack of 3 with no range. So they're going to move 1, attack for a value of 3, and then strengthen itself. Then the bandit guard is going to move for 2, attack for 2, and then strengthen itself as well. So we're top of the turn order with 10, and so we are going to do as we planned. Move 2 to here, and then attack these 2 adjacent targets. Now when we do this, if you look over on the right hand side of the screen here, there we go, you can see that there's our character card, and we have a deck of attack modifiers. So each card underneath there represents something. So the no entry sign is an always miss. -2 means your attack has -2 to its attack power, -1 to your attack power. 0 is a standard attack, +1 is 1 more, +2 is 2 more, ×2 is double your attack, and then because we ate those berries on the way, we also have an extra card for a ×2 in our deck from that. So when we attack here, we're going to attack for 3, because that's how strong our attack is on the card there, and then we will draw one of those to see what modifier we have to that attack roll. We will also get 1 experience for doing this, because you can see there is a 1 in a star on the card. So we'll confirm our targets, and we draw a -1 and a +1. I'm not sure why we drew 2 when we did that. We're not muddled or anything. Oh, we drew 1 for each character, sorry. So we did less damage to one and more damage to the other because we draw cards for every creature. And we will end the brute's turn. Then it is the scoundrel. We could kill the creature on the right, but we want the brute to get the first kill so they can get some more XP. So we want to attack at 2 of a range of 2 against these guys. So we'll move to here. And then we can attack 2 at a range of 2. We're going to attack the other creature and the elite. Confirm our targets there. We draw a +0. And we draw a -1. So we don't actually manage to do any harm there. We end our turn. And now the elite will take their turn. They attack us for 6 damage because they drew a 2x modifier. So we now have a decision. We can receive that 6 damage and go from 10 to 4. Or if we think that damage is too much, we can burn 1 of our available cards or burn 2 of our discarded cards. So I'm going to burn 1 of our available cards here. And what card are we going to select? I'm going to lose Spare Dagger here. I don't think attacking at a range is going to be as important for the brute as it is for everybody else. So we burn that. And we do not take any damage. They get a -1, so we only take 1 damage. I'm happy to receive that. And they move out, and we take 2 damage there. I'll receive that as well. And they have all strengthened themselves. So, strengthen. The strengthened character gains advantage on all of their attacks. The strengthened condition is removed at the end of the affected character's next turn. So if you played D&D ever in the past, you can imagine what advantage is. When they make their attack, they will draw 2 modifier cards and take whichever is more favorable. You can also see on the left, because we burned our Spare Dagger, that card is no longer available to us ever. Whereas if we take a long rest, we burn 1 of our cards, but then the other discarded ones are brought back into our hand, and we get to heal self for 2. Or if we take a short rest, we burn 1 random card we burn 1 of our random discarded cards to then recover the rest of them. And now we do it all again now that the round is over. So we really want the Brutus to kill this guy on 2 HP so that we can get our attack for opener, be the first to kill a monster during the scenario, so we would like to do that. And we only need to hit them for 2 to do it. So I think I'm going to take Shield Bash so that we act on an initiative of 15, but just do a standard attack for 2 instead. And then for our other, on the bottom, the next 6 sources of damage you take gain Shield 1. I think that's going to be beneficial to us, stood around so many creatures. Then for the Scoundrel, we've got one guy right in front of us with only 4 HP left, but we want to make sure we act on an initiative slower than 15 if we are going to try and kill them. So, Poison Shiv will attack for 3 and add Poison. Poison. Enemies add +1 to all of their attacks against a poisoned creature. A heal ability will cure the poison. Single out. Attack 3, add 2 attack and gain 1 experience when the target is adjacent to any of your allies. Well, that we certainly want to do. So we'll do that because that will be slow. And then another card that we will take. We don't need to heal ourselves yet. That's going to be an attack on the step we're on. So this is the top of the card we're using here. So we want something on the bottom of the card. We've got a lot of movement. We can pull something closer towards us. We can attack for 3 on the bottom of a card. Why don't we do that? So they draw 50s as well. So Brutus, as planned, is going up first. We're going to take a standard attack action against this guy here in hopes of killing it. Of course, we could draw a -1 or a -2 and fail this attack, but hopefully the luck is with us. +1. So they have now died. We have completed our task of the opener. We could heal for 3 HP right now if we wish to, and I don't see why we wouldn't when we have lost some of our HP. And then on the next 6 sources of damage from attacks, gain Shield 1. So that's going to help keep us alive. The Elite attacks us. We can use that warding strength and only receive 2 damage. And again, we can use that and only receive 1 damage. Now, for the Scoundrel, we can use both of our attacks here against this creature because we have already killed somebody with Brutus. So we'll attack and attack for extra because we have an ally next to us. They go down, and then rather than attacking for 3, we can't attack if there's nothing in our range here, but we can still move. So we'll take our 2 movement and we'll move on top of this gold. And by being on top of it, when we end our turn, we will automatically loot it. Right, round 3, we have just the big guy ahead of us. I think this would be a time for Overwhelming Assault. You'll see here that we're going to do 6 attack damage, gain 2 experience, and then this card will automatically be burned. So it will come down here and join our spare dagger in the burn pile, so when we take a rest, we will not be able to get it back. But that's fine for such a big attack on a guy with so much health. I think that's worthwhile. And otherwise, we don't have an attack on our bottom half of a card, but we can heal ourselves. So we'll do that. Then we need 2 cards for the Scoundrel. Attack 3, add 2 attack and gain 1 XP when the target is adjacent to any of your allies. That sounds great. And we're going on 61 here. I would rather go on 18 so that then Scoundrel we will take a move 5 action on the bottom and flanking strike on the top, so that then when we go, the Scoundrel will always go after Brute, so that if we kill this guy, we can move towards the door. So they get very good numbers. They shield 1 and retaliate for 2. So they add some shield, and then anytime we attack them now, they will hurt us back for 2 because of the retaliate. I still think we're going to want to hurt them though, so we will heal ourselves for that 2. And then attack for 6. Hopefully we do not draw our modifier of 0. +1's pretty good. We will take the 2 damage from the retaliation. And that's the end of the brute's turn. Then over to the scoundrel again. We can attack. We will take retaliate damage, but they'll be dead, so I think that's worthwhile. And then we're going to move 5 and unlock this door. So here in the new room, we can see there's a pair of bandit guards up close and a single bandit archer elite over at the back there. There's also a pair of traps on the ground here that will do 3 damage when triggered. Now we can finish our 5 movement. These guys have a base movement of 3, so that would be 1, 2, 3. So if we step back, only one of them will be able to attack us because of the occupancy of this tile, and we can loot the gold that we're standing over right now. So they have buffed themselves. Then the bandit archer comes in on their initiative. They don't do anything. Right, so do we have a shove? Move and attack, pierce, move and push 1. Move 3 and push all adjacent enemies 1. So we do. We would have to get to here to push them into that trap. But fortunately, we only have move 3, but we do have boots of leaping or striding. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can push. So we'll do that. Unfortunately, it's not going to be very fast, so we're at risk of the elites going before us and moving. So I'm going to take a short rest, which will burn one of these cards. An eye for an eye on 18. Sure, we'll burn that. Get everything else back so we can take Provoking Roar, which will be nice and fast for us. And then Sweeping Blow on the bottom is our movement. Provoking Roar on the top. We want something fast to play for the top. I guess it's going to be Provoking Roar and Sweeping Blow. And then for our elite, add 2 attack and gain 1 experience when the target is adjacent to any of your allies. They're not going to be. We could pull somebody into a trap, although I don't think the geometry works out. Or we can move 3 and target 1 adjacent enemy. So that would be 1, 2, 3. That would work out. And we can just do a standard attack action if we wish. So let's do that. We will backstab for its standard attack motion and special mixture to move and poison. So we're going at the start of the order, which is what we wanted. Move 3. Poison 1 adjacent enemy. Enemies add 1 attack to all of their attack rolls against a poison creature. So we'll be more effective attacking them, which we can do right now. And then we will end their turn. As for us, we are planning on moving with this. So that's going to be move 3 and push 1. And we will activate our boots. That gets us to here. And then we're going to skip the remaining movement that we have and take our push. And we'll push them back into that tile there. That trap goes off. They take 3 damage. Unfortunately now, we don't have any movement left, so we cannot attack anything around us. So we'll select the attack action and then skip that attack and end the brute's turn. We get shot for 2. We'll have to deal with it. And we are now immobilized. We cannot move. 4 damage. I'm going to burn our last available card. And we will reduce that damage. Receive 1. And it's back to us. Now, we still have our... No, we don't. We've lost... Sweeping Blow. We could have attacked both of these creatures at once. But as we have 2 heroes next to 2 foes, so I think we'll be able to deal with this without too much issue. So it's going to be a Leaping Cleave anyway, even though we can't hit 2 creatures because we can attack for 3. And we will shield 1 while we do that. That's no problem. And over here we need to rest because we have no playable cards in hand. So we can burn 1 of our discarded cards to recover all the others, heal for 2, and refresh all of our spent equipment cards. However, we would be on the 99 on the initiative and get to take no other action this turn. But we do have take only long rests during this scenario as one of our goals. So if we avoid taking a short rest, we can try and make back some perk points later. So we will do that. We don't make any other selection. So the Scoundrel goes to 99. These guys are pretty quick, but we're quicker. So we're going to shield self for 1. And attack for 3 here. And unfortunately the -1 means that they are not killed, which is really bad for us, because that's an extra turn they're going to get. But they're just invigorating themselves now. So that's not so bad. This guy is moving and shooting. We'll take no damage thanks to our armor, or our skill. And the Straggler is taking their long rest. Straggler, Scoundrel. They're just at the end of the order. So we perform a heal of 2. We have to select 1 card to burn. I don't think we're going to need Thieves' Knack now that we've got rid of one of the traps leading into this doorway. And we will end the Scoundrel's turn. Right, we have 1 damage to do here. And of course, the enemy at the back. We can move away without an issue. Unfortunately, our boots are not fixed yet, so we would need to move a long way if we were to push them into this trap. However, we might still have pull. No, have we lost that? Yes, we've lost Smoke Bomb for pull 2, so that's not going to work out for us either. Can we move and attack both of these guys? Alas, not. We would need to rest again. But I want to take the turns that we can, because otherwise, if we burn through all of our cards taking rests, we then won't be able to play 2 cards and we will be out of the mission. So I'm going to go with Trample here to attack the guy in front of us, and then Grab and Go to just move 4 and get into a better position for next time. We still have our Warding Strength protecting us. Then over here, we really want to kill this guy with only 3 HP remaining. Add 2 to the attack 3, gain 2 when your target is adjacent to an ally. I think we can do Flanking Strike anyway because they're poisoned, so we're going to have +1 to our attack roll. And so hopefully we will kill them, and then on your next 4 attacks, targeting enemies adjacent to none of their allies, add 2 to our attack. I think we can do that because at least this one ahead of us is not next to anybody, so that'll be fine. As is the one in front of us, in fact. So it's going to be Scoundrel first. So we'll take this. On your next 4 attacks targeting enemies adjacent to none of the allies, put 2+ onto your attacks. And then we will attack the guy ahead of us. That's massive. This guy strengthens and has Retaliate 2 again as their action. We take 2 times damage over there. We have no available cards to burn. So we must take the 3 damage, unfortunately. We could have burned 2 of our discarded cards, but so be it. Now we are taking our turn at the end of the order. So we want to kill the guy in front of us. That was going to be this Pierce. And we're going to move 4 afterwards. That gets us to there. So now it's only 2v1, which is much easier to deal with. I'm going to short rest. We have to get rid of one of our cards. I think this is fine. And then what we want to do is we have our shove back, don't we? Shield bash. No, sweeping blow. Push 1 target. Move 3. So we can move 2 behind them and then push them into this trap, which we want to do. So that's sweeping blow. And we can attack them for 2 with provoking roar first. That will go well for us, I hope. And then here, we're going to want to attack them. And we're going to want to do it after the brute has gone so that we can attack on this tile here. So we need to move at least 1, 2, 3 ahead. Move 3 and target 1 poison. So we'll do that. That will go after the brute. And that is a bottom. So then we can do something on the top. Venom Shiv seems totally appropriate. So as planned, brute is going to go first. We're going to move to here. Skip the rest of our movement. Then push them into this. They take 3 damage. I should have attacked them first. That's on me. I'm dumb. We should have attacked them before they moved, because now we can't attack them at all. Well, that is a wasted action on my part entirely. We will die if we don't burn a card, so we will burn a card. And they set a new trap. That's fine. So we're going to move 3 and poison 1 enemy. And then attack that enemy. They take 5, which is wonderful. We're going to recover 1 of our cards. I'm going to get back that movement so that we can try and poison something as we move into the next room. And we end the Scoundrel's turn. So on to round 8. Now, we could come around here and just start hoovering up all this gold. But as alluded to, if we move and do that, we have to spend our cards to keep doing this. And once we're out of cards, we're not able to fight any longer. And we still need to kill all enemies in all rooms. So let's get into this room ahead. Move 2, attack 2. Move 3, poison 1 adjacent enemy. So We'll take that. And here we need to get as far in as we can. Move 4 while jumping and attack all enemies moved through. Or we can just move 2. I think it's going to have to be this. We've not got many turns left with the brute, unfortunately. So move 4. 1, 2, 3. We are jumping, so we're not going to set off this trap.
Kicking through the door, you find yourself face to face with the reason these bandits chose this particular hole to nest in. Animate bones. Unholy abominations of necromantic power. Nothing more to do but lay them to rest, along with the remainder of this troublesome rabble.
So we have 4 more enemies. There's also a chest in the back corner. If we finish the mission without looting it, we will not get it. We have to loot it actively or be on that tile during the end of a turn. So let's finish our movement. And we cannot attack anything from here. So we're just going to take the standard attack action. Or skip it rather, so we don't burn that card. Scoundrel is up. We need to move 1, 2, 3. We can do that. And then poison 1 enemy. And then we can move 2 and attack, except we can't move through our foes, unfortunately. So we're just going to attack the one that we poisoned. Skipping the movement. So we do 2 + 1 for poison, -1 for their shield. Now they get a round of attacking us, which is going to be really bad. Choose to take 1 damage, thank you. We're going to burn a card instead of taking 6 there. That's going to be backstab we're going to lose. I want the throwing knives. I'll take 2 there. And we're back to the top of the order. We need to rest. And so that's going to be... this is going to suck. If we can't get past this stuff, we're not going to be able to attack from here. So it's going to be a short rest. We're going to have to lose one of these cards. That's one of the ones we can get rid of. Because we need... No, we've burnt our jumpy movie fly one, did we? I am out of my depth. Right, these are the only 2 cards we have. Sweeping Blow and Shield Bash. And we're going to want the Scoundrel to get out of the way first if possible. So they're going to need to short rest because you have to play 2 cards. We'll get rid of this. Right, we don't have jump. So we're going to attack something. And then move for 2 to move backwards. And we want to be fast on our attack. And slow on our movement. Fast on our attack, slow on our movement. Then we can just play these 2 cards in whatever order we want. So, Scoundrel. We are attacking. God damn it. I was hoping we would kill them so that we could then move to here, but we can't. So we need to take a step back. Which is unideal. Then Brute can move in for 1 and skip the rest of their movement, attack all 3 of these guys. We miss the one on the right. We do hit the one on the left. That ends the Brute's turn. Receive 0 damage for that. Thank you ever so much. We are out of our special magic shield, so we're going to have to receive 2 damage on that one. Then we can not play 2 of these cards. If we short rest, one of them will be burned. And so we have become exhausted as we were unable to play 2 cards. Which is a real problem, because I don't know that we're going to be able to finish this mission as we are. Throwing knives and quick hands. We need to move. Throwing knives, we can attack 2 at a range of 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not going to hit that second one. But we can move 2. I think this is not looking good for me. We pick up the gold that we're stood on. They miss us, which is a stroke of luck. We take 2 damage there. They miss us with a -2. We must take a short rest. Please don't be throwing knives. It's not throwing knives. I will play throwing knives again. And I'm going to move to that chest after I do it. We are up first. Oh, come on. Random number generator, you're the worst. We are immobilized, so we cannot move. Well, that's rough. I'm going to burn 1 available card, I suppose. No, I'm going to have to take 2 damage. Now we have to burn 1 card. This is our only available card to burn. If this bones hits us... No, they miss. Right, we have to short rest, get our 2 cards back. But we burn throwing knives. And we got wrecked. So we failed the scenario. Failed to take only long rests during that. Be the first to kill a monster during the scenario. Well, we failed the scenario, so we don't get any benefit from that. So, we return to the map. And we get another city encounter. Ah, the Sleeping Lion. Surely there's no better place to get a drink and relax after clearing out some dank dungeon. On this particular occasion, though, you're approached by a heavily scarred Inux. She sits at your table and pushes forward a piece of paper. The interested party would like to hire you to steal a valuable figurine from a residence in the battlements, she says matter-of-factly. The details are on the paper. Meet me in the back alley in 2 days' time after the job is done. I mean, I'll take a job. We are paid 10 gold each. Right, well, we need to go back to the Black Barrow and try that again. We have a little bit more gold if we wanted to buy something else, but we will figure that out next time. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'm sure the future episodes won't be quite as long as this one, because we did a lot of the preamble and introductions in the city. But we will be revisiting Black Barrow next time. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you're enjoying the series, please do consider subscribing or hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.